more cohesive team. They feel like when they make a decision, when they go on to objective, when they do something, they do it together. And that almost always is just better than having 2 or 3 people, be a second late on a call because maybe Duran and Croc have to process what's happening in Korean, then translate it in Portuguese or even English, like you said. And that split second, that half a second or whatever can mean the difference between, oh, that's a pick or, oh, we just got baited into a really bad team fight. But we're loaded back into the game here. Standard defensive position from both of these teams. No cheeky invades, nothing crazy going out right now. And yeah, lane assignments look to be standard. Junglers, both of them are looking to maybe start on the top side. Maybe Jarvan recalls and starts bot side. But yeah, I think early jungle pathing is going to be the key to watch here and what lanes get impacted. Camille's definitely going to be played towards. I think Guigo's going to get a lot of that attention. But also, I think Drop and Hawk, might get some love from Croc here.
Yeah, I think if only because, I think if Croc shows up in the top lane, it's going to be for counter ganks, right? Because like you said, I think the top jungle for both these teams is crucial to their identities. But as far as the early game, and like you said, with the pathing, I will be really interested to see what happens. But they both are starting top side, it looks like. So top to bottom. Top laners can't get to the bottom lane as early anymore, but the junglers can get their level 3 just fine.
Yeah, and this is not going to be a fasting Senna here. This is going to be standard 80 carry Senna with just the support Tom Kench. So we've seen that really time and time again. Tom Kench, not the same support, as he was back in his heyday, but still very, very good. A lot tankier. Uses his R to, consume his allies now. So it's still very good. Still fits that role of like, kind of, I'm a beefy frontliner. I'm going to keep my team safe, get them out of sticky situations. But we're going to see the pathing from Aegis here. He's going to go red Raptors, most likely Gromp or blue. I've never been a fan of 5 camping on these kind of champions. I think you either 3 camp for level 3 early and get an early gank off, or you just full clear, become level 4 at 315, and then try to fight after. But it looks like Jarvan's gonna go for a 5 camp here.
Yeah, it looks like we'll see what he does. Kind of, blue into Gromp, or maybe recognizing, okay, as Annie got that ward down in the blue buff, just again trying to get a read on. Does he 5 camp? Does he 4 camp? Does he prioritize Scuttle? Right? And just keeping his bot laners safe in that way. Conversely, Titan and JoJo, they got that ward down in the Tribe Rush. So again, recognizing that both these junglers started where they did, the bottom lane is going to be the first area of priority.
Yeah, they saw Croc over that Tri ward, then they're going to go onto Jarvan here. And because of this 5 camp, Aegis is going to have to just give it up. Yeah, that is just really bad pathing from Aegis. I'm sorry. Like, there's no other way to say that. If you're gonna do that, you might as well just go for the level 3 on Jarvan. 5 camping, now you're behind your blue buff, you're behind the EXP, you don't get the crab on bot side, and you might even be late to crab on top side. Nope, they're gonna get that with Victor and Camille shove. So it looks like Jarvan's gonna try to invade and possibly get Wolves a consolation prize, right, for him.
Yep, yeah, just establish another area of dominance. Like you said, they're behind. Maybe he can't steal anything, but maybe establish some sort of vision. Yeah, and indeed, it looks like it's going to be Wolves. But like you said, with that Camille shove, and that's really, really important because, look, this top lane might not be the most exciting matchup, right? If Duran plays this well, he's going to keep himself safe. He's going to manage his wave well. But still, that doesn't preclude Guigo from establishing advantages for Aegis, and that could prove to be crucial because, like you said, maybe grasping at straws here and splitting hairs, but Aegis did have a bit of a rough go at it to start this game off.
Yeah. I mean, it is just frustrating, right? When you're a jungler and you just kind of get invaded, and now you have to kind of play on the back foot. I mean, camps are even for them right now, but they have timer. I think Xin Zhao has priority right now. They did get a lot of vision down onto Croc's blue side jungle, which is really nice. So they'll know at least when he gets in. So Guigo can just play a little bit safer. He understands, here's my moments of aggression, and here's when I need to be sort of defensive on the back foot and really just look to lane properly. But yeah, slow early game right now. Red kind of just naturally leading 200 to 300 gold. As you saw the fan vote earlier, a lot of fans believe that Red is going to win this. But yeah, I'm on the Netshoe's miners team right now. I think they have the potential to win. I wouldn't really necessarily call it even an upset, right? I mean, these teams are both equally matched. They've had, I wouldn't say similar schedules, but they definitely have, played a good chunk of the teams, and they're both 3-1. So I think, like I said, it falls onto Croc and Annie, I think, for Netshoes, and I definitely think, for red, Guigo and like you said, Titan are probably the ones that are going to be looking to carry. But I mean, Senatom, Kench, these are one of those scaling lanes. This is one of those more supportive style lanes. So it can get really tricky if you put Guigo on Titan on something like this.
And both mid laners down teleport already, and Guigo down a TP to Duran. As Ornn, you don't have to take those recalls quite as often, and really facilitating that lane presence. He's got himself a tier that he's going to throw into a Fimbulwinter at some point. But again, building items in lane, you can save that TP for when you really need it. Duran playing this lane really nicely right now so far, and Aegis not able to get that attention to the top side, maybe like he wanted, as level 6 is coming in here all around. Grevthar pretty low. We'll see how this shove goes, and we might get a scuffle here as both junglers kind of realizing that maybe something's up here. Annie maybe going for the all-in. Unleash power goes in. Doesn't really kill him, though, and Grevthar no ignite. But now both junglers beating the snot out of each other in the EQ win, but Annie flashes away, and Croc says, that's fine, my mid laner's safe. I'm going to go for Grevthar, and he's able to snipe the red mid laner for first blood.
Yeah, beautiful. Ooh. Oh, no!
We're not even done yet. Well. Aegis overstaying his welcome, and Croc saying, okay, if you're just going to give me another one, I'll take it, buddy.
Yeah, Croc, the king of diversion there, right, was eat onto Jarvan, then did the W flash onto Grevthar. I don't even think Grevthar was expecting it. He couldn't even react flash, so really nice kill, really nice mechanics from Croc there, and yeah, I don't know if we can get a replay on that. I don't know if CBLOL will do the replay, but I don't know what Aegis was doing there.
Yeah, here we go. The replay is coming in, and Grevthar had already thrown out his W here, which I think enabled Croc to be, okay, I'm going to be a little bolder.
So watch this. He Qs, and then goes, oh, man, that is just such a nice play from Croc there. And we don't get the kill onto Aegis, but yeah, I just think Aegis overstayed. Maybe he's trying to fix the wave or clear the wave so the shove wouldn't get in, but he also pays with his life. So now Croc up 2-0, has the Iron Spike whip in hand, probably going to recall, get the reset off, pick up his cams. I mean, he's got some money in his pocket. He definitely wants to spend it.
Yep, coming back with a Phage and a couple of control wards, as maybe now we see attention turned towards neutral objectives. CBLOL doesn't like playing for these early dragons, so might see again coming up at the 8-minute mark. Can that top lane facilitate some sort of shove? And it's going to be up to those solo laners to go for that hit, to help Croc go for that Herald if he wants it. But like you said, he is up a component right now, but Aegis still even on farm.
Yeah, Aegis is doing a pretty good job after that kind of blue buff skerfuffle in down there. He was able to maybe pick up this Rift Herald for free. I mean, they didn't see him. He EQ'd over on the backside wall, so that ward or that Scuttle ward isn't going to see him. But yeah, Grevthar moving now, Guigo moving now. We're going to get the CBLOL Rift Herald fight potentially. Even if it goes down, I'm expecting some bloodshed.
Aegis getting low here is the Herald. I think he's able to take it, but the Call of the Forge God comes in. Doran's going to get the kill onto Aegis. Guigo's in some trouble. Jojo is down bad as well. Titan shows up and says, you know what? I actually don't want this. It's 2 more kills over to Netshoes. The Herald was slain by Aegis, but he wasn't able to pick it up, so it is wiped off the map effectively.
Yeah, I wonder if Red's going to try to... Okay, never mind. Psych. Never mind, guys. Scratch what I was about to say. The Rift Herald is gone, so they get the Herald, but they pay for 2 of their lives, and now Netshoe's Miners, 1.5k gold lead, 3-0 on the Zinzao. Look at this fight down. So Duran comes in into the Rift Herald pit here, gets, I believe, a 3-man knockup. Yeah, it is just beautiful play from Netshoe Miners here. Hook goes wide for Hawk, but I mean, picking up 2, denying the Herald. Netshoe is hitting all the boxes in my book.
Yeah, and the fight was taken on 2 fronts, right? And Grevthar wasn't able to get where he needed to be a menace, to help out Guigo, or rather Aegis, who was in a really rough spot. Guigo sacrificed himself to get in there, but like you said, Annie and Duran really helped out Croc, and now he's fully on that Gore Drinker. Again, down 4 CS, but who gives a rip? He's on a Mythic, getting the Enchanted Footwear as well. He's feeling good on that front. And now, yeah, Red having to play catch-up here. Like you said, the gold lead up to 1.5k. Top laners have now switched down to that top side, or bottom side, excuse me. We've got the lane swap going. But Netshoe's Miners, they've got their foot on the gas, and it's been that top side. It's been Croc, like we thought.
Yeah, and Croc's going to say, thank you for the leash. I'm just going to take this dragon here. And it feels like Aegis regardless of what he tries to do, he's always just gets stumped. He's like, damn those meddling kids with Croc, Durun, and them. That's what it feels like as Aegis. He's going to get zoned out here. This is a free dragon for all intents and purposes. 10 minutes in, we get the mountain dragon here. Ocean dragon's next onto the menu, and Aegis, you know, I don't want to say it 4x4, but maybe if he didn't 5 camp, he wouldn't be on the back foot from way back then. I mean, I'm harping on it a little bit, but it feels like that has just had some butterfly effects for Aegis here.
Very well could be. I look at that mid lane fight, right? And as much as I think it's fair to criticize Red and a couple of these small mistakes, as they say, for every throw, someone's got to catch it. And I think Croc has been coming down with everything. He is explosive, like we were saying. And even on this Xin Zhao that, you know, yeah, it's a fantastic jungler for so many reasons, but I feel like it can get a little stale just because we see it all the time. But this is a champion that if you can keep your foot on the gas, you can take over a game. And right now, that's exactly what Netshoes have to do and continue to pull Red all over the map.
Yeah, I think just forcing Red on the back foot, making them more of a reactionary kind of team is really going to help Netshoes Miners, right? Croc is on the forefront, leading with his main man Durun in the top lane. I think once these two start getting into these team fights, I mean, we saw what happened at Rift Herald, right? Beautiful 3-man ultimate from Ornn and Durun here, and I think Drop and Annie can just supplement them with some really good damage and just pick up the kills, right? You have reset potential with Drop, and you also have just high burst potential with Syndra here in the mid lane on Annie. So, yeah, everybody's playing their roles, and I think Croc is he just has to lead the charge now. He has to be the one saying, okay, we can do this, we can go for this, we can force this fight, because I think once they let their foot off the gas, Red is definitely one of those teams that if you give them an inch, they will definitely take a mile.
Absolutely. I think both these team compositions can fight front to back decently well. I think the only thing, it's just going to be about, like you said, who's first to objectives, because they can both start team fights relatively reliably, although I do like a couple of the tools that Netshoes Miners have up their sleeve more. If the Call of the Forge God doesn't hit, you can count on a hook. If the hook misses, you can count on a scatter of the week from Syndra, right? Croc has a nice oops button, and they both have hyper carries as well, whereas Grevthar, you're kind of just relying on, if you're Red, you're relying on an EQ from Aegis, or maybe a knock-up from the Abyssal Voyage from JoJo. So I do think that, Netshoes, it's all coming up good for them, because even if they're late to these objectives, they can start fights, I think, a little more reliably.
Hook lands for Hawk here. Titan and JoJo just going to take some damage. If you look, hopefully we can see the objective setup on the side of Netshoes Miners, right? There's 1, 2, 3 pink wards. One in the tri-bush. I think there's one in the red side or blue side jungle of Red here, and also another one in the pixel bush here. So they have some really good objective setup, but it is a bit early, and I want to see if they'll actually be able to fight for these wards, because right now they're just kind of there getting vision. Sure, it's denying it, but if Red comes in as a kind of like a death ball, sort of like you said, get the EQ off, possibly get the Hextech ultimatum from Guigo in. I mean, there's not a lot that Drop can do unless he can preemptively flash out. So let's see how they play around their vision they've set up. This is the key, right? Setting it up is the first step. Playing around it, denying Red the opportunity to enter and clear is the second part. Let's see how Netshoes Miners actually executes on that.
And after the 14-minute mark, teleports become unleashed. That's coming up in a couple seconds here. So it makes those ward placements, like you were saying, Shibby, that much more important. I think that's a big part of playing around your vision setup, right? Can you get Croc or Durun, or, like you said, Guigo, in a good position to flank? Because that's going to be a big part of it, especially if you're playing from behind. You got to get tricky, right? And Guigo's going to have to come with some interesting positioning, right? Because, like, the engage for Red, it's a little more telegraphed. Like you said, it is a death ball, but there's only kind of 1 or 2 reliable ways to set it up, so you're going to have to get a little tricky with it.
Yeah, I'm going to see what Guigo can do here, because if he gets a devastating flank, is actually, never mind. Oh, he's just hitting the Rift Held for free. As Croc is actually going to go for this. Yeah, they have 50 seconds off Dragon, but because they're here, Red can just kind of walk in, take all these wards out, and so that's a failing grade in my book. Why? Because they are just they set the vision up, but then they kind of just left it for Herald, and they want to, I guess, break top lane here and then just walk into drag as their own death ball. I don't know how effective that is. Definitely, I would have loved for them to start this dragon stacking, even if it is a little bit late, because that just gives you another insurance policy on your win condition.
Guigo, I don't know if he knows that literally everyone is up there, but he's going to flash away. And now, Red looking to take something in response, or rather just Titan. He's on that bot side. Like you said, this is where the map starts to split. Yes, they cracked open top, and they might get 2 charges out of this, and that is massive. But Titan really not taking a ton in response, and because of the response they've had to send up to the top side, Red, yeah, they've got all that vision set up, like you said, that was taken advantage of in the bot side, but what are they going to do with it?
Yeah, pings are going out for Dragon. I mean, you realistically only need to send one person up there to take the Herald. They should have been starting this drag. Senna should have started this drag a while ago, and they should have just been taking it immediately, because now, potentially, Netshoe Miners can get back onto the map. I think they're going to be late, so this Dragon will be picked up for relative freeness. I wouldn't say free, because they did lose 2 towers into the top lane here, but stops the Dragon stacking, stops the Infernal Soul, specifically, is getting stacked as early as possible here for CBLOL. So we're going to see probably a couple more fights around these Dragons, most likely, but both teams have been very, very content on just farming waves, pushing it back and forth and saying, you know what, this is yours, no, this is yours, this is mine, this is yours, and that's all they've been doing.
Now a Turbo Chem Tank coming in for Ornn. This is not something that I've ever seen. How do you read it?
I would say this is kind of maybe the same thought process of like when Zax built Turbo Chem Tank. It's like, okay, well, I have one form of CC, or these 2 forms. I want to be able to just run in and at least, you know, when I pop my Chem Tank, I can slow everybody down, right? It's just that extra form of utility, right? I don't think Duran really necessarily thinks he needs the Sunfire Cape or he needs the Frostfire Gauntlet. So just giving him that extra, I wouldn't say chasing ability, but just having that extra slow stacking on top of everything he's doing just helps out the team that much more, right? Helps Drop and Annie land their skill shots, land their auto attacks a little bit better. It's more utility based, and I don't mind it. I think it's a good pickup.
Yeah. So do you think it's about more reliably being able to hit your stuff?
Yes. I think for him, for Duran specifically, yeah, but also, what is Ornn after he ults and after he kind of just charges and headbutts, right? He's just a walking meat shield. So if you can pop that Chem Tank after all of that, and there's still some more, even if it is light CC in the form of Chem Tank, that is just better than, I guess, standing on top of somebody with the Sunfire Cape. Specifically for Netshoe Miners composition. They don't need the damage, right? They just need more utility.
Yep. No, I think that's completely fair, especially when you talk about an mobile AD carry, right? And depending on how fights go, Hawk might not be in a great position to Lantern, right? He might throw out the Lantern, but you know, as a Thresh, you got to be very cautious of, okay, I'm going to throw out the Lantern, but if I'm in a bad spot and my ADC takes it, I'm sending him from a rock to a hard place. So just a little more ability to distract. The game has settled down here as far as kills and action. We haven't, after an explosive start to the game, we haven't had a kill in what seems like forever, but a total of 6 towers and 4 neutral objectives have been taken. Red doing pretty good damage control, all things considered, as the gold's starting to equalize here, like relatively speaking, right? A 1k gold deficit at 5 minutes is vastly different from a 1k gold deficit right now.
Yeah, I think it hasn't really gone past 2k at all. I think maybe it peaked like 1.8, 1.9k for Netshoe Miners, but yeah, Red doing a really good job plugging up all the holes as best they can, I would say, is probably the best analogy I could use, but we're definitely going to get a fight here. Dragon's coming up in 2 minutes. Either it's going to be for Vision or it's going to be actually for the Dragon. I think the reason you see this kind of slower pace from these games, I mean, obviously this is both these games or both these teams want to separate themselves. They want to hit in that first place spot. They want to try to vie for top seed, eventually. And so, they also have scaling compositions as well, right? Jinx, Ornn as well. You're getting those ornaments. I would say on the side of Red, they have Guigo and Senna, who, Senna, once she gets to that 3-4 items, once she starts stacking those souls, I would love to see her start following her jungler around these jungle camps, but looks like Red's actually going to TP in.
Here come the TPs. It's a pick onto Croc and a massive shutdown for Grevthar. Another carry threat as Grevthar TPing in immediately. We talked about those ward placements, Shibby, coming up big. A huge shutdown. Don't know if it's going to matter for the Dragon. It's going to be up a little later, getting rid of the jungler, but taking Croc off the map never hurt nobody.
Yeah, I think it's a good gimme, right? I mean, Grevthar gets a kill, he picks something up, they execute on their game plan, right? And that's just a big confidence builder for Red, right? Because if you can actually do that, you can say, oh, actually we picked somebody up. Actually, our team comp works, and it doesn't feel like you're on the back foot. I mean, gold is pretty much evened up, 33 to 33.5. So both these teams are very evenly matched. Now it's just an execution battle as Aegis hanging out in this bush. I'm pretty sure they know he's here. Never mind.
Keeping their foot on the gas. Here comes the call of the Forge God, able to bounce that back. It's a trade 1-for-1. 80 carry for jungler, but Durun is on, well, the run. 2 kills for Titan now. During that initial pick, Red expended almost nothing, and they had everything to use here.
Yeah, that's just a head scratcher from me, because Netshoe's Miner has all the tools ready to check these bushes, right? You have the Jinx W, you have Scatter the Weak from Syndra, I believe also Ornn was there as well, so he has his Q to throw out. I mean, they had to have just tried to scope out and scout out Aegis here. He gets a nice engage on to drop. Dragon is up in a second, so they're going to pick that up for free, I would say Red is. And Netshoe's Miners not transitioning that, kind of insane early game from Croc into anything meaningful. Now they're just getting picked off. They're not playing their composition correctly. Yeah, just head scratcher all around from Netshoe's Miners.
And now, like you said, Red have turned the tables. And in these long side lanes, you've got a big threat in Guigo with the Unleashed teleport on that reduced cooldown. Now, unfortunately, like you said, I think, like you said, the early lead that Netshoe's Miners built up is now just, well, okay, now I guess we sort of have someone to match Guigo, because Guigo's going to be a capital P problem, and as more and more kills come into the pockets of other carries, you can't just ignore those other lanes. Red haven't been reduced to a side lane split push win condition, which is what it was looking like there for a bit.
Yeah, and I like how you brought up the fact that there are other people's getting kills on Red side and other people scaling up, because Red, Titan specifically, has the Kraken Slayer, has the Gwynsos in hand. I mean, that setup is going to hurt. Like, she's going to do a lot of damage if you just let her free fire into that backline. And I want to see Drop and Hawk really start to, I wouldn't say take over this game, but just kind of be better at their positioning as Croc is going in here.
Croc's just going straight up forward. Jojo having to bail out Titan. That is so much damage. A shutdown coming in for Annie. Make it a double kill. It's overstayed just a little bit. We've seen this from Croc before. You give him an inch, he will punish your behind.
Oh, yeah, and that was, I'm trying, scratching my eyes and trying to figure out where did the health bar of Titan and Jojo go, because that Scatter the Weak, it just took everything out, and it looks like they're going to try to flip Baron here. Aegis is on the backside. They need to zone him out. It either needs to be Croc with the ultimate, maybe Durun with the ultimate here, but definitely 50-50 here is not the move. Turning is better, but Griftar's going to get a kill.
This is a 3v5. Aegis looking for the swipe. He goes in and he swipes it. Red Canids in control of this one, and they might be able to mop up the fight here. No Titan, no Jojo, no problem. That is the case. A triple for Grevthar. Guigo came in with the TP and his third item, and they rained hell down on Netshoes.
Red might have 99 problems. The Baron isn't one for why. They've got it in hand. Aegis with the hero steal. And now Grevthar pimp walking his way up top lane and clearing these minions with the Baron here. Swing for Red. They're up about 4k gold. We're going to get the replay here. Yeah, 50-50 here was not the move.
No, Aegis, I mean, it seemed like he had that completely telegraphed. Grevthar just toying with poor Hawk. Guigo had 3 items, and then, Grevthar just got a single pick, and then everyone just kind of did their job.
Yeah, I mean, execution was on Grevthar, just playing inside, or I guess outside of the range of Netshoe's Miners engage, and here they should have, or way back then, they should have started up the Baron, forced them in, and then turned the engage on. They had the right idea, but it looks like maybe it was a communication error from Netshoe's Miners because of the language barrier, but it just felt like these two guys were on 2 different fronts. They were trying to do 2 different things, and it just didn't work either way. You either have to take off Baron and engage onto Red, or you just burn it down as quickly as possible and get the flip and maybe turn after. But Red was able to just disintegrate all of Netshoe's Miners in that Baron pit, and now Dragon is going to be up in a minute and a half. I don't know what's going to happen for Netshoe's Miners if they can't get these Dragon stacking, if they can't prevent the Dragon Soul. I mean, it looks I wouldn't say a close and shut case, but Red definitely back in the lead, definitely on the driver's foot, and we're going to see if maybe Croc and Durun can do some magic.
4 kills now for Grevthar. The zone control from him was incredible. I mean, he had Hawk on a string. Puppet Master Grevthar using that range just better, right? Really abusing what he had with Victor and chewing through his health. Now Croc in a tough spot. Just going to throw down his Demacian standard as well. And Guigo, again, you've got this threat. You send someone to answer Guigo, yeah, sure. But that other lane, especially with the Baron, is going to ram it down your throat.
Yeah, and they're going to push 2 lanes here. A 4-1 is fine here. You know, you can go 1-3-1 if you really want to, but I think 4-1 just pressuring the mid lane, pressuring the bot lane, backing off for Dragon is nice here as well. It's going to come up in 30 seconds. They have all of Netshoe's Miners' red sides littered with wards here. There's no reliable way Netshoes can walk into here without taking some punishment, right? Especially from the Victor, either with Gravity Field and Laser or even the Chaos Storm here. A lot of terrain control is the word I would use for Red here. And as I say that, Croc is just walking in like a madman.
At least he opted to use a Scryer's Bloom. We can give him some credit there. But with the Scuttle Crab as well, far side alteration, and there goes Grevthar. He is forward, but he's got Jojo on his behind to bail him out if need be. Aegis, maybe trying to get cheeky, more just maybe not playing his hand fully. They know exactly where Guigo is, and now do they collapse? But it's Netshoe's Miners that pull the trigger first. Grevthar just able to sidestep the call of the Forge God. Sniped by Titan is the Dragon. Stopwatch going to buy his team a little more time while they rain damage down. Drop is down, and that's huge damage. Not going to be available for Netshoes. Guigo is low, but he is a Camille, lest you forget. A double for Titan. And now on the run are Netshoes. This game is coming up all red and just keeping their foot on the gas. It's a double stun. Hawk able to get the stopwatch off. Here comes Guigo out of nowhere. Annie goes down, and it's an ace for Red.
Yeah, ace for Red and possibly the game end here. The Baron's not up, but they've got 2 waves pushing. This is from earlier when they just subbed these waves in on the Baron push. They could potentially look for the end here, but I think they'll just go for the safe double inhib play because drop is coming up and Durun and Croc here. Yeah, they're going to go for the double inhib. They're going to reset, cash out what they have. And, you know, I'm just making sad trade noises right now for why as Netshoe's Miners have been derailed.
And this is, I mean, I think this is going to be a storyline going forward for Netshoes is cohesively, right? Can they operate as a unit? Because whether it's it looked like miscommunication. I go back to that Baron flip or lack thereof, right? That you pointed out. And I'm glad you did because it did look like they were kind of on 2 different pages. And Red will never have that problem. These 5 they're the only roster in Brazil that made no changes. These 5 won a championship together. They had a miracle run, a decent showing at Worlds, and they have just kept the good times going. They were able to absorb the insane pressure early and punch right back with coordinated, cohesive calls. And now Netshoes, like you said, sad train noises. Will the individual play be able to transition into cohesive macro decisions in the future? That to me, that's what I'm watching for Netshoes going forward because they haven't shown me a lot of that right now.
Yeah, that synergy when you build up as a team especially is super important. I would even say it's arguably more important when you're behind because now you know how everybody feels, you know how everybody is, you know how they can play when they're behind, right? When you have a bunch of different team members, when you have people that haven't played together, how they react when they're behind is even more important than how they play when they're ahead, right? How do they try to get back into this game? Do people go quiet? Do people go radio silent, right? Do people try to go heroic plays, maybe like in the same vein as Croc, right? Who's just trying to go in and be a madman and trying to do something for his team. You look at Red, they're all on the same page. They're all trying to play slow at that Baron fight, and now this Baron's going to be picked up for free. I don't think Netshoes can really walk in, and it's a 10K gold deficit that Netshoes has to get through. And unless Red throws miraculously with Guigo on this flank right now, I don't think Red can pick this up, but they're going to go for it.
Yeah, Netshoes got to try something. Drop! Good night, sweet prince! His name is Guigo, and he is the man that has authored your tombstone. Holy moly! And chews through an Ord to boot, leaving a 4v2 because Guigo takes one half of the team, and the other 4 members of Red take the other. That's the ball game. Off the map, a brutal, decisive team fight for Red to finish it off. The defending champs move to 4-1 on the split.
And Netshoes Miners dropping to 3-2 here. That tie that was for first, Red has solidified their place here in an unfortunate end for it.